Welcome back to Yanks Abroad. We have a very exciting episode.
We are top of the league. Said we are top of the league.
I was actually going to give you love, and then you ruined it. Will is back from his wedding and honeymoon. Congratulations to Will on that. We're going to talk all things Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham Villa. Someone went top of the league this weekend.
Yes, sir.
And then we have an Americans Abroad update at the end, of course. Can we start at Liverpool City, or do you need us to start?
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, where I want to start is I asked you this question 2 weeks ago. I said, are Arsenal in the title race? Your response was yes, but I don't think we'll win it. So now I'll pose you the question again. Are Arsenal in the title race?
Well, of course we're in the title race. We're in first place with 10 matches to go. But I was looking at the numbers this morning. Every statistic basically gives us somewhere between a 15 and a 25% chance of winning the league.
Do you think that's accurate, or would you say you have
I probably think we would have like a 40% chance.
Wow.
Just because we're top of the league right now. It's probably
you're
pretty,
top. Okay,
no,
you're acting like you're top of the league by 4 points.
No. Well, I'm just saying, like, if we're top of the league, we can't have right now we have the third highest chance. That doesn't make much sense. We control our own destiny.
I would agree with that if you were in.
Here's how I
with
see
a
it.
match in hand or something. But
you're
up on goal
you asked
differential.
me 3 months ago, do I think we're in the title race?
Yeah.
And I said no, because we didn't control our own destiny. Right now, if we were to win out, which I don't think we will do, but if we win out, we win the league. That to me gives us at least a 33% chance of winning the league.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
If we go win at the Etihad in 21 days, which is our next match, which is fucking crazy.
That's insane.
But if we go win at the Etihad in 21 days, I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to win the league.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Also, like, Liverpool just, like, the fact that they even were in that match with the starting lineup that they put out, like, Klopp is legitimately one of the greatest coaches in the history of sport. What he has done this year with this team that's basically been so injured, like, aside from Van Dijk, they have not had a first-team defender available basically all season. Like,
well, Konate's been good, and he's been available.
I saw some crazy stats. What do you think in the last 5 years is the most league starts that Konate's had in a season?
If I had to guess, I'd say 14.
Yeah, that's right.
Actually?
Yeah.
Wow,
14 league starts in But dude, that's crazy. Like that's not even a third of
All right, so let's get right into it. Was Liverpool's display more impressive, or was Man City's display extremely unimpressive?
Liverpool just has such a way of causing chaos at Anfield. That's incredible.
Is it the
Man City had complete control of that match in the first 30 minutes. They should have put.
I thought that was just going to continue, honestly.
Same. I mean, De Bruyne and Foden had a good first 20 minutes and then disappeared. Holland is in the worst form of his entire career.
Was genuinely invisible.
He's been horrible for
You saw one touch in the opponent's box the entire match. That's insane.
He's been horrible for like almost 3 months. Yeah. Like, it's actually insane how bad he's been. It's
concerning. I thought when
he didn't score 5 against Luton in the FA Cup, like
I know. When the team sheet came out and I saw no Salah and I saw no Konate, I was like,
Konate's hurt?
No, I know. I didn't know that he was hurt.
He got hurt in the Europa
game.
League. Like, He hurt his hamstring. He may miss the next couple months.
Yeah, when I saw the team sheet, I was like, and then when I saw the first 10, 15 minutes, I was like, yeah, this is going to be an absolute wipe.
I did too. I was like, well, because as an Arsenal fan, I'm sitting there rooting for a draw, best case scenario.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, I'm all about like us controlling our own destiny. Even though City's a better team, I was like, I'd rather City win, because if City win and we go beat them at the Etihad, we still control our own destiny. So I was like, I'm literally rooting right now for Liverpool because City are so dominant.
Yeah.
And then the fucking watered pitch struck again.
Yeah. I saw that. I saw your tweet, and I was like, that happens way too often there. It's actually insane.
Bro, when we played them there, like, the ball wasn't moving. Like, you cannot zip the...
Granted, it was raining earlier in England that day. I don't know if it
rains in fucking England every day.
No, I know. They have to have better drainage of the pitch. But
well, they do it purposely under Klopp because, like, it works so well if you're a pressing team. You can press better if the ball's not moving as fast.
Yeah, I thought Liverpool were fantastic, and it does go a ton to Klopp. I think a ton to the atmosphere. Like, when you're at Anfield, especially this season and Klopp's last year, like, getting up for a game is the easiest thing ever when you're a Liverpool player. The atmosphere and the boost that they give, and that is it the greatest home pitch advantage in the entire world?
I mean, it's ridiculous. Van Dijk's 89-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
At Anfield, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I think it all really goes to Klopp. I mean, obviously, Anfield's always been a tough place to play, but I mean, for our entire lifetime until Klopp got there, it wasn't like this. I mean, Old Trafford has always been that way. Obviously, they have that ridiculous thing where they've never lost a home Premier League match if they're leading at halftime, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, at this point, he put out a back four of Connor Bradley, Konsa, Van Dijk, and Joe Gomez at left
Konsa?
back. Or how do you say his name?
Oh, Kwanzaa. I thought you were saying Konsa from Villa.
Oh,
yes,
no,
Kwanzaa.
no.
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
Kwanzaa.
yes.
And fucking Joe Gomez at left back.
Yeah.
I mean, Endo
Who
was
struggled to start, but then he came into it a little bit.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I actually thought Man City's, as good as Liverpool was, I thought Man City's performance was more startling in how bad they were. Julian Alvarez,
he's terrible.
I think that's the worst performance. He's
had a horrible year.
He lost the ball 15 times on 62 touches.
He won't be at City for more than another year.
That's every fourth time he touched the ball, he gave it away to Liverpool. That was awful. Haaland, I talked about this on my TikTok, and I think Haaland, the difference between Haaland being, I think the reason he's not looked at, or I don't look at him as like a world-class player, he's just a really deadly finisher, is they struggled a little bit, so they weren't as deadly, so there weren't as many chances coming into the box, but he just kind of accepted being pocketed by Van Dijk and like didn't take it upon himself to affect the game in different ways. He kind of just stood on the line, and since City wasn't absolutely dominating possession and getting crosses in and constantly attacking, he was just invisible. And he was not that he was fine with it. Like I don't know what was going on inside his mind, but he didn't take it upon himself to affect the match in other ways. And I think that's the difference between being a world-class player. I think I'm going to touch on Harry Kane just because he does drop deep and pick up the ball and
100%.
try and affect the match.
A completely different type of player.
Yeah, but when your team's struggling and you can't, it's not his job to like link up play and do other things.
No,
but
for
like
sure.
He didn't affect the game
Also,
at all.
I mean, City's midfield is just not what it used to be. Like, it's just not. They don't control. City's midfield used to absolutely control the entirety of them. It's like, I'm not making this a conversation about Arsenal, but like Arsenal's mold was after that. Obviously, everyone talks about Arteta's Pep 2.0, whatever. Like, Arsenal's midfield controls every phase of the match. They control the first phase in build-up. They control the second phase winning duels, and they pass the ball around the box until there's an opening in the third phase. Like, that's just not what City's doing anymore. They don't have the same grasp on games that they used to have, and they kind of had it for like 10, 12 minutes to start the match, and then they completely lost it. And, like, we're not used to seeing City struggle in that way, and it also comes down to their defense leaks goals in a way that we've never seen them leak goals. Like, they just are not as good at the back as they used to be. They're just not as tight as they used to be. I think Rodri was getting dragged around the pitch.
I think they struggled a lot because Diaz was injured. So then Stones...
Diaz just was benched.
Was he actually benched?
Yeah.
I thought I saw on Twitter that he got injured.
I mean, all the discourse I was reading was Pep finally made the right move benching Diaz.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I saw something on Twitter. Yeah, I think that was the wrong move because Diaz... Because then Stones had to play the more traditional center back role. When Stones and Rodri playing together, when Stones comes in is like... what makes Rodri so good. I thought Bernardo Silva had an extremely underwhelming performance.
Has been underwhelming recently, yeah.
I thought he's been great this season, honestly. I thought he's been their like most underrated player, the shifts that he's
probably
been
most underrated player, yeah, I respect that.
And then I thought Foden, also was very good. And then once they were getting dominated, he didn't have much to do.
My problem with Foden is like once this is my argument in the Foden Saka thing, is like once Foden starts to get a little bit physically out of it, like he doesn't have the strength or the ability to grasp a game in the way that Saka, like he wants to receive the ball in little spaces on the half turn and find his own pockets, whereas Saka will receive the ball with his back to goal at times if he has to, get the ball into his feet and then take men on in a more physical way. Like Foden operates because of the Pep system, Saka operates because he's Saka. Also, like it's not even close this year. Saka is better in every statistic, but it's irrelevant.
I wish you were here last week so we could have had that argument, but there's no point in having it this week. Did you think it was a penalty on Doku? Same. I thought it was a clear
Stonewall penalty.
I mean, shocked.
It's foot to the fucking chest. It's not even a question.
I understand, like, VAR's been getting a ton of backlash lately, so I understand how they didn't want to be...
They also don't want to make the call.
Yeah, they didn't want to be the ones to decide the match.
Which I honestly respect that. Like, I think if you were to ask me if you could never have VAR decide a match, would you never have them decide a match? I'd probably say yes, but that's a penalty that should be called on the pitch. How the ref missed that is crazy.
But also, I don't think they're going to get a ton of backlash. Like, VAR is there to make... That's like... When you want to, Klopp said they'll use the cop-out of, like, clear and obvious. That was pretty clear and obvious. There's a lot of things that have been turned over by VAR that have not been clear and obvious that they didn't get this one right.
If a defender gets his foot that high in the box, the ref should be ready to call that a penalty like 99% of the time. You're almost never going to not take a player's chest out when you put your foot that high. Like, that's just an automatic penalty.
That happens in the middle of the pitch. Foul, yellow card. That happens. That's
the other argument I've seen a lot of, like, and I think, honestly, I hate when fans of teams do this. Like,
no, that is a bad argument, but like it is a fact that if that challenge happens,
that's what I'm saying. Is like I've seen a bunch of Arsenal fans be like, well, it should be it should be harder to get that to be called a penalty. Like, a foul is a foul to me.
I slightly disagree.
I don't though. Why? How come? If you receive the ball somewhere and you're fouled regardless of where you are. Yes, if it's like a little, like that Havertz thing that happened that wasn't called a penalty, that, well, I'm sure we'll talk about whether or not it was a dive. That'll be called a foul in the middle of the pitch because there's no repercussions. And
that's what I'm saying is I think,
but
and,
this is
and we're not going to go
foul.
back and change the rules of football that date back. But I actually, like, a penalty is a very aggressive and like egregious, like, result. There's when you take someone down and they're on a breakaway and like a red card and a penalty is given, I think that makes a ton of sense. If someone's chopped down when they might have then crossed the ball to then have like a 30% chance of scoring, and as a result they get an 80% chance of scoring.
Defending. You have to be better.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that's why I think it should be a higher echelon in the box because the consequences are so grave. And like a penalty is a penalty, and we're not going to change the rules of soccer. But I do think that like if you're dribbling into the top left corner of the box and you get clipped and you get a penalty as a result, when like your chances of scoring in that moment were probably 10 to 15%, like yeah, that's the reality.
Let me ask you
but
this.
that is the reason why I think it should be a little bit of a harsher set of standards to give a foul in the box.
Let me ask you this. So Arsenal obviously are great on set pieces, and every match there's 2 or 3 times where the player for Arsenal gets in behind and the defender is dragging them down from behind in the box, and it's not called a penalty.
Yeah.
If that were to happen in the middle of the pitch, nobody's gonna argue that's a foul. How come that shouldn't be a penalty if you're stopping a player from getting to the spot he's trying to get to? I'm not just saying for Arsenal's purposes, but I think it's the same thing you're saying, where it's like the ball's in the air, they may not be getting to it. It's okay if he drags him down.
No. I think that's a very hotly debated thing because there's so much.
Well, if you remember,
that's such a touchy-feely thing because like there's so much grabbing and pushing that goes on in the box.
VAR
and if
first
you
started
call
that first World Cup with VAR, they were calling that
everything
every single time.
And that's when people were like, all right, we can't do this. Like this is maybe just a reality of corner kicks and free kicks is that people get pulled. My last thing is if it's 2-0 Liverpool against Crystal Palace in the 34th minute, that's also a penalty. I think it was
100%.
I think it was
I think
literally
at the end of the day, VAR
just
decided
because
they
it was
do not want to decide this match,
which
also may decide the title. They didn't want to be that to be the situation.
Which I get, but like, what is that? I mean, you can't actually.
Listen, it worked out well for me.
What is that? A 90-10 penalty?
That's a penalty.
You think?
99%.
Right? Like, yeah. I think
First
that's
of all, it's less than it's just like contact and penalty. Like his fucking foot was in his
chest. Yeah, it's
that's
not.
That's a foul
close.
Anywhere on the pitch, no matter what.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, that's a borderline red card.
Yeah.
You fucking kicked him in between the nipples. It's a fucking penalty. Every time.
I don't know if it's a red card because like he didn't full like stomp him.
It's a borderline
obviously
red card.
it's obviously a penalty.
If that's called a foul in the middle of the pitch and a yellow card, VAR is looking to see if that's a violent conduct.
Sure. All right. Before we move to the Arsenal match, can I just get your final stamp it now? The date is March 11th, 1st, 2nd, 3rd. You can't say if we go to Etihad.
I mean, I just hear
stamp it now.
All right. Arsenal, Pool City.
All right. I'm going City, Liverpool, Arsenal on March 11th.
You're not putting Tottenham third?
We'll get to Tottenham. Let's move to Arsenal now.
How am I seeing on Twitter Tottenham fans saying we can still win the league?
That was a joke. I mean, I saw one tweet.
Axel or whatever his fucking name.
Yeah, I think he's
that
obviously joking.
Worst.
Anyways,
Bro,
we moved
everyone
to
in the replies is like it's not over.
We
yet.
moved to Arsenal and we talk about first. Let's talk about
not a dive.
Okay,
not a
My
dive.
question to you: if there's
Kevin, show the fucking angle nobody's showing.
If there's
not a dive.
If there's 1% contact, does that take it out of the dive category? If there's any slight piece of
honestly,
contact,
the contact's irrelevant. How many dives have been called this year in the Premier League? Somebody pull that fucking up for me.
Basuma got sent off for a second yellow because of a dive. Okay. And that's why Tottenham fans are so pissed, because now it's happened twice.
Tottenham fans should worry about themselves. It's irrelevant to them.
It's
irrelevant
to our. We just want consistency.
We all want consistency.
Basuma,
we're not getting consistency. No one's getting it in any sport.
No, the worst part is that Basuma got sent off, and there was also very slight contact. But I agree, and everyone on Twitter was like, that day, he cheated the rules. There was a little bit of contact, but it was a dive. Good. They're actually cracking down on it this year. And then we've seen it multiple times, and Ben Godfrey did it against us, and then you see this, and that was a clear dive. Regardless of if there was a little bit of contact, that's a dive.
Here's how you're defining dive. Was Havertz 100% going to ground looking for a penalty? Yes.
Okay.
Is that a dive if he gets hip checked also?
He didn't get hip checked, though.
Did you watch what I said?
He got clipped just a little bit.
Okay, I understand that. But here's the other thing. I'll say two things. Number one, if you get hit in the hip in the box, like you're going to go to ground. And number two, the bigger issue here is if you don't go to ground, you will never get a foul called.
Sure.
Like this happened in the City Liverpool match. Diaz got past Rodri. Rodri grabbed him. If Diaz had gone to ground, Rodri would have gotten a second yellow and gotten sent off. Instead, Diaz saw more open space ahead of him and tried to stay on his feet. And in that way, he's not rewarded for being athletic and for trying to stay up on his feet. That's the bigger issue.
I completely agree. The precedent has been set that if you try and, I guess, tough it out, and if you're like getting pulled back and you don't go to ground and just like stop, you won't get the penalty. You have to go to ground. But that's when there's still like not substantial contact, but like clear and tangible contact. What happened to Havertz was like the slightest touch. He's going to the byline on his right foot. 100%. He knows that he can't make anything out of that action and just falls to the ground. 100%. That is as clear of a yellow card and a sending off as
it just doesn't get called like that. I'm sorry. Like that's the thing to me. It's like,
so it only gets called.
You want consistency? Like the consistency would have been. By the way, not to be. By the way, that would have been consistency.
Pot calling the kettle black. I see you on Twitter bitching about fucking people getting time-wasting yellow. Only Arsenal gets time-wasting yellow cards.
Only Arsenal gets time-wasting yellow cards.
Like, this is the exact same thing. So worry about yourself.
How many minutes do you think the ball was in play for the Arsenal-Brentford match? Out of 90 minutes.
I watched it. They did.
The average match is about 63 minutes. How many minutes do you think the ball was in play for Arsenal?
That should be a compliment to you guys.
How many minutes do you think the ball was in play?
64.
49 minutes.
Yeah, that's insane. No, I watched it.
How many do you think the ball was in play for in the other Arsenal-Brentford match?
55.
49 minutes.
Wow.
The first and third fewest amount of minutes the ball's been in play in the Premier League matches here. Then all of a sudden we score the winner, and Brentford's not wasting time anymore. They're not injured every second. That's shocking.
No shit.
Fuck that. If you're gonna fucking, I saw a great fucking.
All right, but Arsenal's been battering people 5-0, 6-0.
If a team is time wasting,
they got a 2-1.
Was time wasting all match. At the 90th minute, the ref should go to the other team's captain and say, "Do you want to play the stoppage time?" Because there should not have been 7 minutes of stoppage time. Brentford decided to waste time all match. Then we score a winner, and then they get an extra 10 minutes to fucking play.
A winner of someone who should have been sent off. Can we acknowledge that?
Honestly, that's
not irrelevant. If you have 10 people and you take off the goal scorer, how's that a stupid argument? You would have been down to
fucking scored.
Not if you were down to 10 men, not necessarily.
That's never like this is so irrelevant. That's never going to be a sending off. That's never going to.
It literally was a sending off this season.
I've seen it twice. The Basuma one you're talking about, and Victor Moses in the FA Cup final in 2016 against Arsenal, who actually dove, like legit didn't get touched at all.
Basuma actually got touched and did dive.
Basuma sucks anyway.
Okay, that's not true. He's had a resurgence lately. 3 straight matches has been very.
He was fine against Villa. Pape Sarr was much better.
We'll get to him. All right, last thing I want to touch on Arsenal, unless you have something, is Ramsdale played really well outside of the goal.
Outside of the fucking... So... Yeah, because Ramsdale's good for 80 minutes a game, but he also has some of the worst ADHD I've ever seen in my life.
I saw a tweet.
He sees a fucking squirrel, and he's like, have you seen the one about last year, where if there wasn't a pigeon in front of him against Southampton away, then we would not have given up the game-losing goal, and we would have won the league. Like, that's literally what I saw
was...
I love Ramsdale, but he's
like a picture of him with the Apple goggles, and it has the Subway Surfer game on it.
Oh man, but he's crazy. I love him because.
Do you think he should start though, or do you
start for? Arsenal?
I mean, Raya's awful.
Raya's 100 times better than him.
You think so?
Okay,
because I thought his shot stopping was really good.
Ramsdale's shot stopping is great, but
take away. This is part of him, so you can't do it. I understand. We lost the league
because of him last year.
Take away
all the mistakes in the last 5-10 matches.
This is obviously a huge hypothetical because it did happen, but take away that goal, are people calling for him to start. It was
No.
a 2-0. He
Raya
looked great.
has been instrumental in our absolute
You were
dominance.
bitching about Raya 2 months ago.
Not his shot stopping, yes. I don't care about shot stopping, honestly.
I guess when you're Arsenal, you don't really have to.
No, I don't. You could ask. I've been saying this for almost 7 years in my fucking soccer group chat. I do not care about shot stopping. It is the most irrelevant statistic in. Okay. If you are trying to win titles, it's completely irrelevant. Ederson is one of the worst shot stoppers in the world. He's won.
But he's better than Raya. But he's better than Raya.
He's equally as bad.
But Ederson,
he's a better shot stopper. His positioning is much worse.
But Ederson also provides. You're not saying Raya is equally as good with his feet as Ederson is.
He's not equally as good, but he's the same concept of player.
Ederson gets assists and hockey assists.
Raya also gets hockey assists and has an assist this year. Know the numbers before you're going to bring that shit in here.
One hockey. Eye test.
One
Ederson provides a lot more to his attack.
I'm not saying Raya's as good as Ederson. I'm talking about profile. The idea that Arsenal
but you saying shot stopping is irrelevant.
It is irrelevant. David De Gea is one of the best shot stoppers in the league, and he was one of the worst goalkeepers in the Premier League last year. Those two facts are true.
Okay, that has way more to do with United.
No, it has to do with the fact that he can't.
Because Onana's going through the same thing. Onana's
a terrible shot stopper.
He's a good goalkeeper.
David Raya is an excellent box commander. Pause. And
I think that's not a pause. I think that's a continue.
Listen, Raya's completely changed the way that we play by being able to step in between Saliba and Gabriel. It's allowed Gabriel to be the center back. It's allowed Kivior to fill in for Zinchenko and make us even better at the back. It's allowed Ben White to play more. And it's completely changed the way we play. And also, I don't have any panic when the ball's at his feet versus Ramsdale.
How many people are Arsenal allowed to have that have completely changed the way you're allowed
Literally
to play?
all of them.
Raya completely changed. Havertz.
Jorginho.
Partey.
How good is Jorginho?
Partey when he stops being a criminal
and
comes back.
Can you admit how right I was about Jorginho?
That was a good take.
He is like a top 5 midfielder in the Premier
See,
League right now.
we always say not everything has to be a hot take and hyperbole. And then you did
5 better Premier League midfielders who are playing better than him right now. Right now, in the last 3 months, since 2024 started, name 5 midfielders playing better than Jorginho.
Rodri?
Borderline, but yes.
Okay.
I said yes.
No, the fact that you said borderline ends this discussion.
I said yes. All right. Yes.
Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne.
We're not talking about the same kind of player here. Bernardo Silva is like...
Well, is Jorginho playing the
Bernardo
6?
Silva's not playing better than Jorginho.
All right, Kevin.
Right now.
Well, okay, fine. I don't know what profiles you're...
You could
Declan Rice?
Yeah.
Rodri?
Yeah.
Pop Matasar?
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
That's just so stupid.
James Madison? He's been brilliant.
He has not been brilliant.
Since of late?
He's had 2 good matches after like 6 horrible matches.
That's not true. They weren't 6 horrible matches. We just didn't play a lot of matches for a long stretch through February. All right, whatever. Let's move. Jorginho's not a top 5 center midfielder. Douglas Luiz is better. No?
Douglas Luiz is not playing better than Jorginho right now. Jorginho, like, brother.
Endo, we didn't touch on. We didn't
right
touch on that.
Endo
I thought Endo was incredible.
I mean, he bossed Rodri.
Yeah, not Rodri.
He bossed the entire midfield of Manchester City.
All right, let's move on. Finally to Tottenham Villa.
Just classic Unai Emery more than anything. Biggest match of the year. They've had a great season. He decides to change the formation.
That might be the biggest choke job of all
Brother, this is what he did at Arsenal. Like, this is what I've been saying. Like, you don't have to worry about Villa. They will choke it away.
What could have went... It seemed like he was like, if we play for a draw at home...
This is what it is. This is what he does.
I mean, it just makes no sense to me.
He throws out fucking 5 at the back. He takes away everything that's been working.
Oh, my God. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. They were... an absolute non-threat. For a team that allows so much, the way we play to allow so much pressure, also, they didn't have a shot on goal.
Also, like, not even just allow so much pressure, like, you had multiple times you gave the ball away in your own third, and they still couldn't turn it into
by the way, which was, you were pushing propaganda on Twitter, which was by Kulusevski.
Romero was fucking awful.
Oh my God.
I think
you're seeing things. Kulusevski was the one who gave the ball away multiple times, setting up attacks.
Romero gave the ball away 2 times in his own half.
Your Romero hate is like insane.
He
was actually really good that match.
I just don't like players who aren't good.
He is very good.
I hate like players who get random propaganda for like winning a fucking World Cup because they had the GOAT on their team. Like, no one cares. Like, Lisandro Martinez won a fucking World Cup too. He sucks ass.
whatever.
Julian Alvarez, another player who got so much love for winning a World Cup, has been horrible.
But he actually performed well in the World Cup. The way he played against Liverpool.
A bunch of players played well in the World Cup. Like that, the World Cup is its own like sport almost. Like it's completely.
No, I honestly agree with that. But back to Emery absolutely choking on himself. The thing is, Tottenham's first half form since about the beginning of February has maybe been some of the worst in the entire Premier League. If he wanted to play the back five, he should have at least like tried to come out on the front foot, and then in the second half came out and played the back five.
So much.
That was the worst decision.
I almost hate him as much as I hate Tottenham. Like I want Villa to do almost as poorly as I want Tottenham.
So it's like they didn't even practice for it in training. It's like he made that decision on Sunday.
He did this fucking classic Emery thing where he played 11 guys for like 90 minutes on Thursday in the Europa or the Conference League,
and
then he started 10 of those 11 guys. Like
the fucking announcer was pushing that narrative so hard.
Yeah,
like
they
are so tired. They're so like they're professional athletes. They can play on Thursday and Sunday.
Also, the fucking play-by-play guy was doing that, and then I don't even remember who's doing color was talking about how like this is why you train so hard on Tuesdays and Wednesdays or something. I was like, what? They just like what are you talking about? Like they're saying opposite. The NBC Sports announcing team, other than
the main
one with Lee Dixon and
Graham Lasso
and Peter Drury.
Yeah.
Other than them, like it's pretty much unlistenable. Like I'd rather.
I like
just
the
watch it
halftime crew and the pregame crew.
Yeah, although Tim Howard is a fucking moron.
Well, I like the Robbies and Rebecca Lowe.
I mean, yes. Yes.
But
yes, Rebecca Lowe.
It was obviously a great second half performance, but like, if we don't get the red card, like I don't know. Obviously, we scored before the red card.
Was it?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it was a red card, but it was orange.
This is a take that I might be in the minority in, but like him not looking for the ball.
That was the issue. He was seeking revenge.
He literally went out of his way to not play the ball and try and hurt someone, whereas someone is going in to make a challenge, staring at the ball, goes in, studs up, because that's sometimes how you have to make a challenge, doesn't get there first, and stops on someone's ankle. Like, that's a clear red card, and people are debating this one. I think the John McGinn red card is more of a red card than someone stomping on someone's ankle by accident. I understand it's still a red card because of the rules, but like someone going out of their way to try and kick someone's knee down is such a clear red card. I saw people debating like, oh, it's a hard trip. Nothing about that was a hard trip.
No, I mean, to me, I think red card is as much intent as it is bad tackle, and that was all intent. So,
exactly.
There's no space for that kind of tackle in the sport.
Okay, because I saw people debating it on Twitter, like, is that a red card? I'm like,
However, if he was going for the ball, I don't think that's a red card. Like, where he made contact with him is not red card material.
Sure, just the fact that the ball could have been on the other side of the pitch and he would have had no clue. Yeah.
Also, my favorite part is he makes that tackle and the entire Villa crowd is singing, "We've got Super John McGinn."
No, and then he gets sent off.
You no longer
No,
have
and the
Super
best
John
part
McGinn.
is, did you see his quote from before the match?
Oh, I think I did.
He got interviewed on Friday and Saturday. He said, this could be the biggest match in the club's history.
I think they've won 2 Champions Leagues, so...
He said that and then proceeded to get sent off because he lost his head, and it was 1-0 at the time.
Yeah, you guys control your own destiny now for 4th place.
I know.
All right,
but by the way,
you have to ask me this: 4, 5, 6. You Villa.
So I
United.
just want to preface this. We have a stretch where we're going to play
Liverpool,
Arsenal, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Newcastle. 5 consecutive games.
One of those teams is in 12th. You don't have to worry about that.
I understand. It's still a rival. They're still big.
I'm obviously just giving a dig.
No. But like that's insane to me. I still think we'll get top 4 because I honestly think our style of play allows us to put in better performances against teams that want to come out and play. Like we'll get scored on.
I've been saying that all year. I think you guys will get 4th because there are enough teams that think that they can get at you, and you have such an ability to score.
Yeah.
That you will win. Like you're gonna beat the teams like Villa. I think is a great match for you. Like they're trying to play the same high line you're gonna play.
No, but
you have more technical.
So maybe to Emery's credit, like he did try and sit in and hit on the break.
He didn't even really try and sit in.
Like, nah, he did. They didn't give anything attack. We had 70%.
No, I know, but like they still
70%
possession. They were still wide open. It's not like they were playing a low block.
Well, that's just because they don't know how to play compact.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they didn't. It was classic Emery. Like I mean, this is. My blood is boiling. I fucking hate Unai Emery.
I think it'll be Tottenham 4, Villa 5, Man United 6.
How far of a gap between you and Manchester United? How many points? It's like 8 right now. Well, I think it's 6 right now, but you have a game in hand.
we do have a game in hand. Our run-in is so tough that I think we will struggle a little just because we're playing. We virtually decide the title, which is nice. Playing Arsenal, City, and Liverpool.
If you could beat City and Liverpool, that'd be awesome.
How bad? It's tough because I think our run-in is so hard, but we're actually good. And I think, did you see the highlights of the Man United Everton game?
I saw the 2 penalties.
I mean, they got utterly outplayed again, and no one. The only team that might be worse.
I mean, Ten Hag's days are
the only
so
team that might be worse than Sheffield and Man United is Everton.
Chill. Sean Dyche is a dog.
I
am the biggest Sean Dyche lover maybe in the world.
I mean, they actually looked good and just couldn't produce anything. Man United is, we don't need to do this again, but they consistently are the worst team.
I mean,
Ten Hag absolutely has to go.
Honestly, the craziest thing about our Manchester United talk, and like, obviously, whatever, like, people are gonna say what they want, but like, they were all for what we're saying, except they were like, chill, Casemiro's great. Casemiro's so fucking bad. Like, what are people watching?
He's just not.
There's so much nostalgia love for Casemiro. Like, it's okay. He left Real Madrid because Real Madrid was like, you suck now. We're not going to play you anymore. We're going to bring in Tchouaméni. We're going to bring in Camavinga. Like, we have this figured out.
Yeah.
Manchester United's willing to pay a large 8-figure fee and pay you 400,000 pounds a week still. Why don't you go fucking retire there like you're moving to Boca Raton and fucking get fat and suck? And
well,
that's what he did.
I think he would provide more in a team that wasn't on the back foot at all times, and he's chasing the game.
Right, he can't chase
He can't
anymore.
do that anymore.
And
if
also,
he played in an actually good side, I think his IQ and ball playing ability might be a positive for a team. But in a Man United setup, he is absolutely useless.
The other issue is
they should put an Amrabat who just runs with his head off.
The other issue is, like, they need a midfielder with ball retention if you're going to play with Bruno Fernandes, who's just playing hero ball the whole match. Yeah. And Casemiro's just trying to play way too vertically. Like, they're just giving up possession in all sorts of positions where they can get a fucking... If they could just get a grip on some possession for a second, they have so many talented players, like, they could create something. But
do they?
I mean, Rashford's... I'm big on... I would love Rashford. My new thing is Rashford Arsenal this summer. Run it. Arteta will revive his career.
He's never going to leave United. They're just going to hope that he... eventually.
The issue is the wages. Who's paying him those wages? Nobody other than United. 350 pounds a week, 350,000 pounds a week.
So you brought up something that I wanted to bring up with City and Liverpool, the nostalgia thing. I forgot, and you reminded me. I saw a lot of after Van Dijk's performance. I didn't get to watch a lot of Matic and Ferdinand and John Terry a little bit more. Is Van Dijk the greatest? What did I say? Matic. Vidic. Yeah. Is Van Dijk the greatest Premier League center back of all time? His display.
Greatest peak.
He was absolutely fantastic.
I mean, he also, and like we talked about this earlier in our podcasting careers here on Yanks Abroad, like the way he's changed his game as well.
Yeah.
As he noticed he's lost a half a step. I mean, he's still pretty rapid for a center back, but like even that one-on-one with Haaland, like no panic. He got turned twice. Still was able to continue to move his feet.
That arm up to put him off the shot.
He is incredible.
Yeah, because everyone was hating on him. They're like, because people were tweeting it as a highlight, and they were like, oh, they let a lefty get on his left foot and get a clean shot away. There was nothing clean about that shot.
No, if Haaland scores from there, he scores from there. Yeah. Like, what are you going to do?
No, I thought Haaland should have just long touched and sprinted after.
I thought that's what he was going to do. I thought he was just going to try and just go right around him because that was he probably had the pace on him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And also, Kelleher was not off his line fast enough at all.
So is Van Dijk the greatest center back in the Premier League?
If I could choose one player to have in their peak in center back, I would probably choose Van Dijk.
Once again, honestly, I didn't get to watch those greats that people say are better, but watching Van Dijk, I can't imagine watching someone who's
Terry and Ferdinand did it for 15 years and won multiple Premier Leagues. They were major parts of big England setups that obviously didn't do well, but like they're revered as
they're always gonna prefer the English.
That's what the agenda is.
Yeah.
I mean, Van Dijk's peak is better than those guys. Also, like I think this is a big debate going on with the NBA now. Like athleticism is just at a different level now than it was then. True. Like that was peak fitness and athleticism then. Yeah. What Van Dijk is now is now. Like we've gotten to a different point in sports science and nutrition and training. Like these guys are built literally built differently now. Yeah. That like the guy could be that size and that top heavy and still be that rapid is incredible.
And then my second thing is Kevin De Bruyne the greatest Premier League midfielder of all time.
Yeah. My only issue with the discussion is like Kevin De Bruyne is not a midfielder. He's a second striker. He's not a midfielder. Like you can't.
He does not. He does not play that high.
He does.
Sometimes he's so creative and picking up in so many different spaces.
He's a second striker the way like Mesut Ozil's not a midfielder, but Kevin De Bruyne is even less of a midfielder than Ozil was.
Lampard, I feel like, played kind of second striker E.
At times, but he also played deep at times. He was, I
think
like
that's what Kevin
box
does.
to box.
Like
No,
when they play,
the first
every
couple
now and
years
again they
at
play a
City,
midfield
yes,
that
but
has
not anymore.
Foden and De Bruyne in it, and De Bruyne is the deeper lying.
De Bruyne is the deeper lying sometimes in possession, but never out of possession.
Okay, well.
But that's
Just
part
saying.
of playing a midfield.
Yeah, no, it is.
I mean, like, you can't compare him to, like, Lampard, Gerrard, Vieira, Keane. Like, those guys play completely different positions.
Yeah.
I just think, like,
I think people like.
there's a position that isn't defense, midfield, or attack that isn't really talked about. Like De Bruyne, Ozil, even, like, not Bruno Fernandes. It's not in that conversation.
Yeah.
But Bruno Fernandes. Like, those guys, they kind of play, like, not even in the middle third of the park. Like, they pick up spaces in the half space or wider. Like, it's just not really the same position.
Yeah. I think people are just, like, so caught up on nostalgia and, like, you can't have, like, ball knowledge if you think the guy presently playing. Like, I think we find this with LeBron and Jordan. Like, I think eye test-wise, you can see LeBron's better than Jordan, but people don't want to say it because they're like, oh, you didn't know ball. Jordan was.
100% agree.
Like, just because
But
Kevin De
Patrick
Bruyne is.
Vieira is the best midfielder in Premier League history.
It's funny I wasn't even going to list him in the options.
Honestly, like, you really should just go back and watch some Patrick Vieira. Like, you would be absolutely blown away. Talk about peak athleticism at a time when, like, there wasn't.
I
peak
just find it
athleticism.
hard to believe that I would watch a Premier League midfielder that would wow me the way De Bruyne does.
Well, I mean, again, you're talking about a 6 versus a.
No, I understand. But, like, even his assist on the Stones goal, like, there's very few players in the world who can be as precise with
Corner
that.
taken quickly at Anfield, not by Alexander Arnold.
No,
That's awesome.
Them two might have the only technique other than, like, Modric and Kroos to, like, that is a pinpoint ball that, like,
De
shouldn't
Bruyne
be
is the
taken
best
for
at that.
granted.
He is the best at that, maybe ever.
Yeah.
Other than Ozil, potentially.
All right. Should we get into Americans abroad?
Let's do it.
All right. Another fantastic week.
Christian Pulisic, baby.
Yeah.
Best season of his career.
Same with Wes.
Wes is another major assist.
I think we send all the Americans to either Italy or Netherlands, and we'll be ready to win a World Cup in 2026. All right.
I'm sure nobody will question that.
March 11th, American Abroad's update. Starting in Italy, where Pulisic got on the score sheet midweek in Milan's Europa League win and got the winner at the weekend in Milan's 1-0 over Empoli, and Yunus Musa was 60 minutes. And Yunus Musa was the 60th minute sub in that match. McKinney had another huge performance for Juve in their 2-2 draw, picking up another 2 assists, and Weah was used as an 82nd minute sub. In England, Anthony Robinson started and played the full 90 in Fulham's 2-1 loss to Wolves. Austin Trusty started at center back and played the full 90 for Sheffield United, as did Chris Richards for Palace, which is nice that they're both getting in center back time. Gio Reyna was not on the injury list or in the squad for Nottingham Forest 1-0 loss, which is a huge concern for Gio and the rest of his season. What do you think happens this summer with Gio? He's clearly not going to get any time.
He's not making the squad at this point.
No, right?
I mean, honestly, like, I hate Berhalter, and it would be a mistake not to take him, but you can
At
make
this
an
point,
argument
you
for a
can't
guy
blame
who
him.
hasn't played in a year. Like, you can't take him to a major tournament and expect him to play major minutes.
Yeah.
So, like, is there somebody who's been playing who could, like, I just don't see a world in which you can bring a guy who cannot make a bench for a
I agree.
bottom half.
And it's not a direct one-to-one because Southgate loves Mount and Berhalter doesn't necessarily love Reyna.
Right.
But I think it's like in a Mount territory, like, is he going, even though he hasn't played all season?
I don't think he should take Mount Southgate, but I think he will. If Mount comes back in April and has a good month, I think he's going to take him.
Yeah, with how well everyone's playing, especially some of the forwards, I know he can play midfield. Like, I just don't see a spot for Gio. In France, Balogun started and played the full 90 up top with Ben Yedder, which is great because he's been second-choice striker to Ben Yedder, and it seems like Monaco's opening up to playing 2 up top. They got a 1-0 win against Strasbourg. In Germany, John Brooks scored in the 6th minute.
Then he got a red card.
Then was sent off just 18 minutes later, and they ended up losing that match. Is he in the squad? No, right?
I mean, Berhalter hates him too.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a good situation when your manager hates like so many players.
Right? Maybe we just need a new manager.
Yeah, that seems to be the issue. Yes, John Brooks should be in the squad.
Oh, you think so?
I think he should be. He's been great for the U.S. It's good to have another seasoned veteran. I mean,
I
a center
agree.
back. It's not like we have so many good center backs.
I mean,
can't break John
Trusty's
Brooks.
getting time at center back. Chris Richards is getting time.
Trusty-
Miles Robinson.
Trusty's been bad the last few.
Trusty,
I mean, against
not
Arsenal,
been good.
he was getting dragged.
Yeah, starting for Sheffield United is not a good thing, honestly.
I mean,
You just get set up for. I mean, he doesn't look good in himself, but like
No.
it's hard to look good in that.
he
side.
looked better for Birmingham last year in the championship. I mean, shocking, but
Yeah. Elsewhere in Germany, Pefok and Scally played the full 90 in their 3-3 draw, where Scally picked up a beautiful assist on their second goal. He's playing extremely well.
he's got to make the squad.
I'm starting to think that
You think it's going to be Dest and Anthony starting?
No, I'm starting to think it could be Scally and Dest.
Bro, Anthony's been incredible. This is the best form of his career.
I know, but Dest at left back is scary.
So is Anthony. I think it depends
Anthony
on it's not going to be
Anthony, I'm so up and down.
It's not going to be Scally. It's going to be Dest right back, Anthony left back.
Yeah, I know.
Although Dest has had the best form of his career at left back now.
That's what I'm saying. And Scally's playing really, really well. In Netherlands, PSV picked up another 3 points off of a beautiful finish from Serginho Dest.
Incredible goal.
Him being able to cut his left foot is so good that he's actually really, really difficult to defend.
Do you think there's a chance at Dest left wing?
No, you can't. Where you play Pulisic at the 10?
Yeah, or play Pulisic off the
right wing. Yeah, he is playing right wing right now.
Milan,
he's in great
really
form. That's a good point.
Also, I think the dynamic. I mean, I don't think he'll do this, but it's interesting. The dynamics kind of work with Anthony overlapping and Dest being able to play that same kind of inverted.
That's actually really interesting because
then you play Tillman at the 10.
He is so good with his
Balogun
left.
Up top.
He is so good with his left that he's
McKinney.
Yeah, he's really difficult
Johnny McKinney
to defend. Maybe. Anyways, elsewhere in Netherlands, Paxton Aronson got another goal for Vitesse. You think he gets into the squad?
No.
Okay. And finally, Josh Sargent picked up another goal.
Yeah, fucking Josh Sargent is flying.
Flying. And Haji Wright scored twice this weekend in the championship. Both of them are crushing it in the championship. So Ricardo Pepe has been in good form.
You take Pepe and Balogun, no question. Then you got to bring one other striker.
Sargent has been.
I think it'll be Sargent. He loves Sargent. The good news is Jesus Ferreira should be nowhere near this squad.
Yeah, he scored an awful free kick goal at the weekend, which we're not including. But yeah, things are going extremely well. We've touched on it.
We still have no goalie and center back.
Correct.
Trust,
let's go. Let's do our ideal starting lineup. Who's in goal? You still got to start Turner. I think you still have to start Turner.
Somebody horrible who's on the bench for Nottingham.
Yeah.
One of the two horrible backups at Nottingham. Then I'm going to probably go Dest, Robinson. No, Dest, Richards, Ream. Robinson or Richards.
Ream, unused sub again for Fulham.
He's just been really good for the U.S., and I think he really commands that back four who needs a leader.
And a left side,
you
left-sided
can't just have four
back.
22-years out there, I don't think.
No, that's fair. So it's either Richards or Robinson at right center back, Ream, and then Robinson on the
left back. Then Johnny, McKennie, Tillman, Dest, Balogun, Pulisic. That's my new 11.
Wow.
It's not going to happen.
With Tyler Adams coming back, if he gets into fitness in time, I think he starts no matter what.
I just think we're starting to really be every week we're saying if he gets back and into fitness,
no,
we're running out of time.
I see updates on Twitter. He's
coming
back
but we're running out of time for him to get.
I think it's Adams, McKennie, Tillman, and then that Dest thing is really interesting because I like Pulisic on the right.
Also,
Weah can play left wing if he wants to.
Weah's just also not playing that much. I mean,
he plays.
Here's the thing we know.
He
about
comes on as a
Berhalter.
sub every single match.
Berhalter almost never plays the same 11 back-to-back matches.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's entirely the right move either.
No. He's not a good. I mean, we could question many things about Greg Berhalter.
No, what
sucks
is in the back of my mind, I'm rooting for us to crash out of Copa so we get a new manager in for the World Cup.
Yeah,
which sucks.
I think outside of if we don't at least make the semifinal, there's no way that they can keep Berhalter. Yeah. And I don't think we'll make the semifinal. There's some good teams in this tournament.
Well, who's better, us or Uruguay?
Uruguay, better coach.
You think so?
Just a better coach team. We may
talent-wise, do you think who's better?
I mean, I was prepared to come in here and tell you Darwin Nunez is the best player in the Premier League today.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't say that because that's the dumbest thing.
I love Darwin Nunez.
I love Darwin Nunez too.
Who's offsides 5 times.
But there's nothing you saw from the match that
there was a lot. I was blown
I thought he was good, but
biggest mistake in the match was Klopp taking him off for Cody.
How about Pep taking off KDB? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, I love them getting into a little tiff. That was fun.
What could have went in their minds to take KDB off? I know he wanted to play Foden inside and Bernardo Silva out wide, but
I think
there's don't take your best player off the pitch, maybe?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not going to sit here and question Pep Guardiola, but sure.
I guess not. But, I mean,
here we are questioning him.
And he did lose them a Champions League final when he didn't start Rodri against Chelsea. So, every now and again, you still have to keep the best honest. That's what we're here to do.
That's what Yanks Abroad's mission is. Keep the best honest.
Yep. All right. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed. Comment what you think about us or what you want us to talk about next, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.